Deuteronomy 4, Moses commands obedience. And now, O Israel, give heed to the statutes and the ordinances which I teach you, and do them, that you may live and go in and take possession of the land which the Lord, the God of your fathers, gives you. You shall not add to the word which I command you, nor take from it, that you may keep the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you. Your eyes have seen what the Lord did at Baalpor, for the Lord your God destroyed from among you all the men who followed the Baalpor, but you who held fast to the Lord your God are all alive this day. Behold, I have taught you statutes and ordinances, as the Lord my God commanded me, that you should do them in the land which you are entering to take possession of it. Keep them and do them, for that will be your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the peoples, who when they hear all these statutes will say, surely this nation is a wise and understanding people. For what a great nation is there that has got so near to it, as the Lord our God is to us, whenever we call upon him. And what a great nation is there that his statutes and ordinances so righteous as all this law which I set before you this day. Only take heed and keep your sword diligently, lest you forget the things which your eyes have seen, and lest they depart from your heart all the days of your life. Make them known to your children and your children's children, how on the day that you stood before the Lord your God at Horeb, the Lord said to me, gather the people to me, that I may let them hear my words, so that they may learn to fear me all the days that they live upon the earth, and that they teach their children so. And you came near and stood at the foot of the mountain, while the mountain burned with fire to the heart of heaven, wrapped in darkness, cloud and gloom. Then the Lord spoke to you out of the midst of fire. You heard the sound of words, but saw no form. There was only a voice, and he declared to you his covenant, which he commanded you to perform, that is the 10 Commandments. And he wrote them upon 2 tables of stone. And the Lord commanded me at that time to teach you statutes and ordinances, that you might do them in the land which you are going over to possess. Therefore, take heed to yourselves, since you saw no form on the day that the Lord spoke to you at Horeb out of the midst of the fire. Beware, lest you act corruptly by making a graven image of yourselves in the form of any figure, the likeness of male or female, the likeness of any beast that is on the earth, the likeness of any winged bird that flies in the air, the likeness of anything that creeps on the ground, the likeness of any fish that is in the water underneath the earth. And beware lest you lift up your eyes to heaven, and when you see the sun and the moon and the stars, all the host of heaven, you be drawn away and worship them and serve them things which the Lord your God has allotted to all the peoples under the whole heaven. But the Lord has taken you and brought you forth out of the iron furnace, out of Egypt, to be a people of his own possession, as it this day. Furthermore, the Lord was angry with me on your account, and he swore that I should not cross the Jordan, and that I should not enter the good land which the Lord your God gives you for an inheritance. For I must die in this land, I must not go over Jordan, but you shall go over and take possession of that good land. Take heed to yourself, lest you forget the covenant of the Lord your God, which he made with you, and make a graven image in the form of anything which the Lord your God has forbidden you. For the Lord your God is devouring fire, a jealous God. When you beget children and children's children, and have grown old in the land, if you act corruptly by making a graven image in the form of anything, and by doing what is evil in the sight of the Lord your God, so as to provoke him into anger, I call heaven and earth to witness against you this day, that you will soon utterly perish from the land which you are going over the Jordan to possess, You will not live long upon it, but will be utterly destroyed. And the Lord will scatter you among the peoples, and you will be left few in number among the nations where the Lord will drive you. And there you will serve gods of wood and stone, the workmen of hands, that neither see, nor hear, nor eat, nor smell. But from there will seek the Lord your God, and you will find him, if you search after him with all your heart and with all your soul. When you are in tribulation, and all these things come upon you in the later days, you will return to the Lord your God and obey his voice, for the Lord your God is a merciful God. He will not fail you or destroy you or forget the covenant with your fathers which he swore to them. For ask now of the days that are past, which were before you, since the day that God created man upon the earth, and ask from one end of the heaven to the other, whether such a great thing as this has ever happened or was ever heard of. Did any people ever hear the voice of God speaking out of the midst of the fire, as you have heard, and still life? Or has any God ever attempted to go and take a nation for himself from the midst of another nation, by the trials, by signs, by wonders, and by war, by a mighty hand and an outstretched arm, and by great terrors, according to all that the Lord your God did for you in Egypt before your eyes? To you it was shown that you might know that the Lord is God, and there is no other besides him. Out of heaven he let you hear his voice, that he might discipline you, and on earth he let you see his great fire, and heard his words out of the midst of the fire. And because he loved your fathers, and chose their descendants after them, and brought you out of the Egypt with his own presence, by his great power, driving out before your nations, greater and mightier than yourselves, to bring you in, to give you land of their inheritance, as it is this day. Know therefore this day, and lay it in your heart, that the Lord is God in heaven, above and on the earth beneath, there is no other. Therefore you shall keep his statutes and his commandments, which I command you this day, that it may go well with you and with your children after you, and that you may prolong your days in the land which the Lord your God gives you forever. Cities of refuge east of Jordan. Then Moses set apart 3 cities in the east beyond Jordan, that the manslayer might flee there, who kills his neighbor unintentionally without being at enmity with him in the past, and that by fleeing to one of these cities he might save his life. Bezar in the wilderness, on the tableland of Reubenites, and Ramoth in Gilead for the Gadites, and the Golan in Bashan for the Manassites. Transition to the second address. This is the law which Moses set before the children of Israel. These are the testimonies, the statutes, and the ordinances which Moses spoke to the children of Israel when they came out of Egypt, beyond the Jordan, in the valley opposite Beth-peor, in the land of Sihon, the king of Amorites, who lived at Heshbon, whom Moses and the children of Israel defeated when they came out of Egypt. And they took possession of his land, and the land of Og, the king of Bashan, the 2 kings of Amorites, who lived to the east beyond the Jordan, from Aror, which is on the edge of the valley of Arnon, as far as Mount Sirnon, that is Hermon, together with all Arabah on the east side of the Jordan, as far as the sea of the Arabah, under the slopes of Pisgah. Deuteronomy 5, the 10 Commandments. And the Moses summoned all Israel and said to them, Hear, O Israel, the statutes and the ordinances which I speak in you, hearing this day, and you shall learn them and be careful to do them. The Lord our God made a covenant with us in Horeb. Not with our fathers did the Lord make this covenant, but with us, who are all of us here alive this day. The Lord spoke with you face to face at the mountain out of the midst of the fire, while I stood between the Lord and you at that time to declare to you the word of God. For you were afraid because of the fire, and you did not go up into the mountain. He said, I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me. And you shall not make for yourself of a graven image, or any likeness to anything that is in heaven above, or that is on the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow down to them and serve them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children to the third and the fourth generation of those who hate me, but showing steadfast love to the thousands of those who love me and keep my commandments. You shall not take the man of the Lord your God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless who take his name in vain. Observe the Sabbath day to keep it holy, as the Lord your God commanded you. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work. But the seventh day is a Sabbath day to the Lord your God. In it you shall not do any work, you and your son and your daughter, or your manservant, or your maidservant, or your ox, or your ass, or any of your cattle, or the sojourner who is within your gates, that your manservant and your maidservant may rest as well as you. You shall remember that you were a servant in the land of Egypt, and the Lord your God brought you out thence with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm. Therefore, the Lord your God commanded you to keep the Sabbath day. Honor your father and your mother, as the Lord your God commanded you, that your days may be prolonged, that it might go well with you in the land which the Lord your God gives you. You shall not kill, neither you shall not commit adultery, neither shall you steal, neither shall you bear false witnesses against your neighbor, neither shall you covet your neighbor's wife, and you shall not desire your neighbor's wife, his field or his manservant, or his maidservant, his ox or his ass, or anything that is your neighbor's. Moses, the mediator of God's will. These words the Lord spoke to all your assembly at the mountain out of the midst of the fire, the cloud and the thickness darkness, with a loud voice, and he added no more. And he wrote them upon the 2 tables of stones and gave them to me. And when you heard the voice out of the midst of the darkness, while the mountain was burning with fire, you came near to me, all the heads of your tribes and your elders. And you said, Behold, the Lord our God has shown us his glory and greatness, and we have heard his voice out of the midst of the fire. We have this day seen God speak with man, and man still live. Now therefore, why should we die? For this great fire will consume us. If we hear the voice of the Lord our God any more, we shall die. For who is there of all flesh that has heard the voice of the living God speaking out of the midst of the fire, as we have, and has still lived? Go near and hear all that the Lord our God will say, and speak to us all that the Lord our God will speak to you, and we will hear and do it. And the Lord will hear your words when you spoke to me. And the Lord said to me, I have heard the words of this people, which they have spoken to you. They have rightly said all that they have spoken. Oh, that they had such a mind as this always, to fear me and to keep all my commandments, that it might go well with them and with their children forever. Go and say to them, Return to your tents, but you stand here by me, and I will tell you all the commandment and the statutes and the ordinances which you shall teach them, that you may do them in the land which I give them to possess. You shall be careful to do, therefore, as the Lord your God has commanded you. You shall not turn aside to the right hand or to the left. You shall walk in all the way which the Lord your God has commanded you, that you may live, and that it may go well with you, and that you may live long in the land which you shall possess. Deuteronomy 6, the Great Commandment. Now This is the commandment, the statutes and the ordinances, which the Lord your God commanded me to teach you, that you may do them in the land to which you are going over to possess it, that you may fear the Lord your God, you and your son and your son's son, by keeping all his statutes and his commandments, which I command you, all the days of your life, and that your days may be prolonged. Hear therefore, O Israel, and be careful to do them, that it might go well with you, and that you may multiply greatly, as the Lord, the God of your fathers, has promised you, in the land flowing with milk and honey. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord, and you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words I command you this day shall be upon your heart. And you shall teach them diligently to your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise. You shall bind them as a sign upon your hand, and then shall be your frontlets between your eyes. And you shall write them on the doorpost of your house and on your gates. Caution them against disobedience. And when the Lord your God brings you into the land which he swore to your fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, and to give you with great and goodly cities which you do not build, and the houses full of all good things which you did not fill, and cisterns hewn out which you did not hew, and the vineyards and the olive trees which you did not plant. And when you eat and are full, then take heed lest you forget the Lord who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall fear the Lord your God, you shall serve him and swear by his name. You shall not go after the other gods of the gods of peoples who are around about you, for the Lord your God in the midst of you is a jealous God, lest the anger of the Lord your God be kindled against you, and he destroy you from off the face of the earth. You shall not put the Lord your God to the test as you tested him at Massah. You shall diligently keep the commandments of the Lord your God, and his testimonies and his statutes which he has commanded you. And you shall do what is right and good in the sight of the Lord, that it may go well with you, and you may go by thrusting out all your enemies from before you, as the Lord has promised.